that participated in the Twitter portion of this month's community chat, Blackness. My name is Beulah. I'm the founder of Ezibota, an online community that connects the African diaspora. And I will be facilitating today's conversation with the lovely participants that you see on the screen. We're going to introduce ourselves, starting with Edie.
Okay, hello, my name's Edie. I live in Texas currently. I was born in Nigeria. I came here as an infant, so I've been here the majority of my life. Just turned 30 today, big 3-0, woo woo. I'm currently a nurse. I work here and I work in insurance.
You said you work in insurance?
Yes, as a nurse.
Okay, and what interested you about today's chat? Why did you want to join us today?
I think it's really important to talk about loving yourself as a Black person because that was something that I struggled with definitely as when I was growing up. And today, in some ways, I still kind of struggle with that today too. But I think that this is a great discussion to kind of open that up to and have people talk about it openly.
Cool. Thank you, Kalkadan.
Hi, I'm Kalkadan, and I was born in Ethiopia and have lived in Wisconsin for 14 years now. I'm a student, and I'm studying international relations, and I joined this conversation today because I really think it's important to talk about love, especially as a Black person, and this is a nice platform to talk to other people who look like me about Black love. So.
Great, thank you. Onine, I had to mute you because I heard a truck. But if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself, that would be great. I know you live right next to a big road, so. Didn't anybody else hear what I just said?
No,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
still on mute.
Oh, what did you say, Vincent?
She's still on mute. You have to unmute her.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I thought I did it. Hi, my name is Onine. I was born in Nigeria and grew up in a couple of places in the U.S. I currently live in California. Well, what's already been said, I definitely just want to reiterate because I just feel like, especially at this time in world history and in U.S. history, it's really important for Black people to recognize or to be loved and also give love to one another. And I think it's just important that we all talk about that. So that's it.
Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, hi, Vincent. My last name is Chukwemeka. I was born and raised in Cameroon. I'm from Nigeria originally. I've been in the US for a while now. I work in insurance too, like Edie. Like underwriting. That's what I do. But is there anything we have to say apart from that?
Why are you interested in this chat, Vincent?
Oh, I forgot. Yes, Donald Trump is running and he's winning. That's an issue.
Bah! I know.
Black and loving our Black before he comes and takes all of us away. So
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Vincent,
If that guy wins the election, we're dead.
That's deep, Vincent. I love it. Okay. And then last and certainly least, my name is Beulah. I am Nigerian. I'm from Houston. I currently live in Philadelphia. I'm here because I went to a white small liberal college, and it was the worst 4 years. It was like the worst and best 4 years of my life, but emphasis on the worst. I was around a lot of people that called themselves Christians but behaved like the most subtle, microaggressive devils I've ever witnessed before. And they lit a fire in me that I didn't know was there, and they just brought a lot of things to my attention that I didn't know. Sorry, someone just said the way your hands on your head, bruh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that means that accepted.
Yeah, I'm just really unprofessional. I'm sorry. But anyways, yeah. So that's me, and I am very happy to see all of you guys. I think that this platform is serving its purpose. I love having these kind of conversations with people that are on different parts of their journey. Like Edie said, it's really hard for her, and maybe someone has been loving themselves since birth. So that's amazing. So we're just gonna dive straight into the conversation. I'm gonna ask this really broad, general question, but hopefully people can draw from it different things. I'm just gonna ask, what do you love most about being black?
I think for me, I would say I like the versatility. I like the fact that there's so many things that we can do as black people, whereas other people have to work harder, I think, to achieve the same things. For example, for me, I'm gonna cite, natural hair. There's so many ways you can style it, so many ways you can, take care of it. Whereas with other cultures, they have to kind of work a little harder to do the same thing. I think that culturally we have so many. I don't know. I feel like we just have so many things that are inherent within us that make us really special. Oh, someone else is being added. So, okay, I guess that's done. So I think for me, I would say that I think we're just inherently just special as a people, and I think, we don't really, I think we take for granted how much we have as far as our gifts and our skills and our talents, I think. So I think that's something about us that I'm really proud of.
Cool. Anyone else?
Oh, sorry.
I'll go. I think one thing that's really cool is like there's like a bit of an ambiguity, if you will, about in terms of like ethnicity. I know I like people guess a lot of times where I'm from, and just like that mysterious kind of thing, like not knowing where you're from. But I think that's kind of cool, and I feel like we're innovators and creators, and yeah.
Vincent or Nina? Hey!
Okay, I'll go.
So, yeah.
Take the best from last. I was trying to think of like something really deep, or also like trying to think of what I like more than the other, because there are a lot of things that I really like about being black, and like I don't know. But I think my favorite is being able to sit out in the sun for a really long time and not be burned. So definitely that.
Also very
but also I think I think we are certainly innovators, and despite the fact that our histories have been intentionally erased, and so it seems like that's not the case, we can credit ourselves with a lot of developments in society, technology, science, spirituality. It goes on and on. So that's what makes me the most proud to be a black person.
Yeah, is it me next?
Yeah, Vincent.
Okay. Yeah, so let me see. I mean, everything is nice, as Onyinye said. I mean, there's nothing that you can totally discount, being black, but, I mean, if you say what's the thing you like best about being black, it's like having Black History Month in February, which I don't understand. Like, I know I'm black every single day of my life, so I don't get it. But then I mean, let's just understand it that way. But I think, as everybody has said, is the innovation part, as Edie said, is that part of, I mean, people try at doing so many things we do without even knowing. A black person could just be like nodding their head and they're actually dancing better than a white person trying. A black kid is 2 years old has reading more than a white person.
Am I cutting him off? I don't know. The quality is really bad on my end. I don't know if it's bad on anyone else's
Oh,
end.
can you hear me? Or can everybody hear me?
What did you
Yeah, I can
say,
hear you
Edie?
fine. I hear you better this way.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask this question. Just really quickly. Shout out to Ijoma that's watching this live, and then also Coco. I'm sorry for butchering this Twitter handle. Cheek Coco Belle. I don't know these exotic things. I'm sorry. But I want to ask this question. I know that we haven't had a chat for a while, but feel free to like interrupt or like have it be a back and forth conversation. I don't want to like call on people like I'm a teacher because I just feel very awkward doing that. So if you have something to say, just do it. But I want to ask like when each and every one of you, when you started loving yourself as a black person, and when I say that, I mean like when did you start intentionally loving yourself as a black person, right? Because during our Twitter chat, we talked about the doll test. And the doll test, for those of y'all that don't know, I'll give a very short description of it. But basically, two psychologists in the 40s, Kenneth and Mimi Clark, did a doll test to show the effects of segregation. And they asked black children, they presented two dolls, one white, one black, and they asked young black children, like children in elementary school, which is the smarter doll? They would point to the white doll. Which is the beautiful doll? They point to the white doll. Which is a nice doll? They point to the white doll. And then when they ask the kids which doll looks most like you, they point to the black doll, right? And these are young kids that don't even know what they are internalizing every single day, but the effects are very obvious. So a lot of people don't know that they are taught these things, but I think there reaches a point in every black person's life where there's a ding, and it's like, wait, these are lies. Wait, this is not true. Wait, I have value. So I just kind of want us to explore as a group when we started learning ourselves and when we started actively dismantling a lot of these lies that are told to us, our communities, our families, to keep us within whatever bondage that we're meant to be in to make the system keep working. Yeah, does anyone have a response to that? Anyone have a moment in which you were kind of like, hey, this is wrong?
Well, I think it was sort of a gradual process, but I think it was definitely incited by my family's return trip to Nigeria in like 2011 or 2010, and at that point it had been like 16 years since we had left. So like I had grown up in the States and like didn't speak the language and obviously didn't sound or really dress Nigerian, quote unquote, and so being there and like having that experience of like going home and re-exploring and relearning what that meant. Well, sorry, I forgot to preface this by saying I used to go by my English name, and it was during that trip that I made the decision to stop using my English name and use my Nigerian name, my Igbo name. And yeah, there was something about like not having to think about being a black person, like existing in the everyday world, because like that wasn't something that was constantly under scrutiny or under a microscope at all. Like everybody was black, so it wasn't really an issue. I think that was the period in which I really started to like think about those, concepts and ask those questions of myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Well, I know for me personally,
Bila, stop
I was
costing me.
sharing
What's
before
your
we went
problem?
live that I actually had a lot of moments in college where I was just like, all of these people actually really suck. They would like when asked how to pronounce, or they wouldn't ask how to pronounce my name. They would just like say some crazy formation letter, and I would be like, no, actually, it's Osweke. And they would be like, well, can I just call you? And I say, no, my name is Osweke. Like, either call me my name or don't call me at all. So like, but before I would have been like, oh no, yeah, it's okay, you can just call me whatever. But their last name is 18 letters long, and they expect for me to be able to pronounce that name, but they can't say Osweke. So there's a lot of small, like, many things here and there that I have been told prior, because I grew up in a suburban area, but it's like, be polite, don't be rude, X, Y, Z. But me being polite is allowing this person to kind of just like crap all over who I am, heritage, all that, my value, and I just decided to not allow it anymore. And now and I think this is also part of like respectability politics, but I'm not marching around like burning things up, but I'm just like, I have communities that I think it should be respected. So for me, it was definitely in college. When I wrote an article, it was titled "The Air I Breathe," and I was comparing the life of a black person in a white space to like white people's existence, and I was saying that they wake up every day breathing clear air, and they're like, wow, life is amazing, whatever. while their neighbor is breathing in air that's polluted, and they're looking at their neighbor saying, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you breathe? This is great air." And I got like a crazy feedback. People were like, "Are you okay?" They were treating me like I was suicidal, and I was like, "What?" Like I was gonna kill myself because I thought that I was black. It was mostly fun. So yeah, after instances like this, I was kind of like, okay, this is a little bit interesting. So, anyways, yeah, so that's my personal story about intentionally loving blackness. Vincent, you look really intrigued over there. Are you froze?
No, you keep cutting
I
me.
can't tell if he's frozen. I think he is actually.
You keep cutting me.
He's muted.
No, he's not. He's done. Talk it out. Were you saying something?
I was just gonna say that I can really identify with where you're coming from because, well, first of all, I was born in Ethiopia and I was adopted, so I was raised by a white couple. So talking about like race was really never a thing, or just it's something that I had to figure out on my own. And on top of that, I lived in like a whitewashed community. The only other black people were my siblings, so I didn't really have anybody to look up to, or talk about things that I was experiencing in school. Students would often ask to touch my hair, or like call, I don't know, just say like I was like the whitest black girl or whatever, things like that. But for me, the moment that I began to love myself as a black person was the moment I looked at my circumstance as an opportunity to educate the people that I was surrounded with, and just making sure that they understood like some of their perceptions may not have been right or wrong, and also providing some knowledge about my culture and where I come from that kind of tears down some of the barriers. But it was hard, it was challenging, but
You said something that I thought was interesting. You said like, I think you said teach people about your culture.
could you say that again?
Yeah, I said I think I might be misquoting you, but did you say something? Is someone having an emergency happening near you? Or is that just me? I can't. I would not.
Sound check.
Oh, is you, Anina? Okay. No, you're good. I was just like, because it might be me. I have to look outside my window. But you said something about it might be an opportunity.
You're saying an opportunity to teach them about my culture?
Yeah, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said, especially about Ethiopia, because I mean, like, their perceptions of Africa were pretty influenced by what the media was saying. So that was I was like, okay, I need to correct some things. Not correct them, but give them some sort of guidance, really. Yeah, but
Do you ever with having to like help people with their ignorance when Google's right there?
yeah, I think it's easier for them to hear it from a person, and they can identify with you and your story. And I've kind of used my circumstance as a way to inform.
Can anybody hear
I'm
me?
just curious, where in Wisconsin do you live?
Well, I grew up in Green Bay, which majority is white. There's really no black people. And then for school, I moved down to Madison. It's a little bit more diverse, but it's still, still kind of rough, I guess.
Yeah.
So when I asked the first initial question, Edie, you said something about like black people's diversity, and that kind of leads me to the next question. And maybe this isn't true of everyone in here, so if it's not, I apologize for putting you in this situation. But the next question is, how can you learn to love blackness in a global sense and not just your immediate community? Because I feel like whenever I say I love black people, I'm not just talking about Nigerians or African Americans or whatever. I'm talking about like all black people. So even black people in Europe, which some of them I find kind of strange a little bit, but it's okay. But like loving them as well, and not just people that can identify with me directly. I think that's an issue that actually a lot of first generation Africans have, because as you guys are probably well aware of the whole, well, I don't even know if this is a real thing or if it's just like a fake thing that people perpetuate, but like Africans versus African Americans. So
That's very
yeah, I just
real.
kind of. What do you say?
I said that's very real.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, like, how did you, or where are you in the process of gaining a love for the global black community, not just your community?
Oh, absolutely. For me, I would say, because I grew up, when I was growing up in New Jersey, grew up in a predominantly like black neighborhood or black community. So I had to learn, I learned to see blackness not just from a Nigerian perspective. I saw it also as, from the African American perspective too. And, from there, I think that kind of fueled my interest in learning about blackness in general. At that point, I was really young, so I didn't really understand. I didn't have a really concrete understanding of it at that time. But I think, that was kind of like it planted a seed in me, I think, for me as I got older, to really understand and look at, the African diaspora and understand it from a greater perspective, and to really appreciate it in that way. So.
You guys, because there was a lot of background noise, so if you want to say something, you should unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
Can you guys hear me?
But yeah, Vincent.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Can anybody? Oh, I don't. So I'm just not gonna say anything because I don't hear him.
What's happening now? Can you guys hear me?
I hear you. I've been hearing you the whole time.
What's happened? That's why Bila has been cutting me. You have been cutting me
the whole time.
Bila has been cutting me
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would hear him like interjecting, like, "Can you guys hear me?" I've been hearing him say that.
Okay, I never did. So I'm gonna stop talking, and when Vincent's done, can you give me a sign so I know?
Okay.
Easy, tell her that she has been cutting me all the time. Every time I want to talk, tell her she can't hear. Tell her.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I did notice that, you would get caught off, but I thought it was because I didn't know why. I didn't know that she couldn't hear you. I didn't know that.
Okay. Hey, this is an issue today. Anyway, Bila, I'm not talking to. Let me talk to the other people. Yeah, I think you talked about the question of like being like black and international and stuff like that. I guess going back to when we're talking about the issue of knowing that you are black, or coming to terms that you're black and realizing that you love your blackness, I think to me it really started when I left home, like when I left back home. That's when I left Nigeria or Cameroon. There everybody's black, so there's no need for you to be thinking of black people or thinking of why you love your blackness. You don't even think about that part. The stuff you're thinking about is food, or you're thinking about going to school or something else, not black. But I think it's always when you come out of the continent, mostly, that you get that feeling, and it equally depends on where you live. Because, for example, if you live like Wisconsin, where Turkey don't live, or if you live like in somewhere which is predominantly white, it becomes something evident to you. I went to a school where like 98%, 97% of the students were white, and just that very few people were. The day you go out into the school in a day and you are trying to look for one black person, and when you see the person, you are so happy because you saw one black person. I had a friend of mine whom every single day we would go out, come back in the night, we'd be like, "How many black people did you see today?" I was like, "I saw 5." Like, "I saw 6. I'm more than you," stuff like that. So, but I think it's something which, when you come out here, you actually get the whole gist, the whole idea about why you need to actually propel it as much as you can. Like teach your culture, teach your like not. I mean, we don't want to be Google or anything, but equally just make sure that you give them the right information. So if somebody is asking you, "Oh, I didn't know there were cities in Africa," you're like, "Dude, it's not Africa. I'm from a particular country. I didn't know." I mean, and it's funny, they always say this thing. Even Kanye West, the other day, Kanye West just said that, what did he tweet? He West said that he will not go and build houses in China, Japan, what's it again? He called another country, then he said Africa. I was like, is Kanye okay in his head? Like, seriously, you of all people would know that Africa is not a country. Why did he just call countries and call Africa? You know, and I mean, we have had so many instances of black people themselves in the United States being so, you know, I mean, don't not even knowing that Africa is, you know, a whole continent in so many countries and so many cultures. But I think it's sometimes you have to be polite. Just be polite. That's my own advice. Just be polite about it. But sometimes equally you have to be cocky about it. You have to be a little bit straight up about it. And if somebody makes it out for it, tell them, you know what? I mean, if most of you would call Czechoslovakia, what's that thing again? That long name of that country. If you can call that name of that country with Z and C and T in the same
Czechoslovakia.
word, God bless you, my sister. I don't even know how to call it. If you can say that name, that means you can actually say my name, Chukwuemeka. You know, you will not be trying to, you know, it doesn't make sense. Chukwuemeka is even rhythmic. You know, you could say it. It sounds like a poem. It's a sentence. It means something. You know, I mean, a simple name like Usueke is simple. Why are you trying? And then you could call weird names like Papalolopoulos from Canada. So it's just weird. But most times, as much as you want to be polite, just be straightforward. Tell Beulah I'm done.
You know, I feel like
He's
for me
done.
personally, I feel like I'm not a good reference when people ask me about like Nigeria. Like I've gotten something. I got a question recently about like how things are back home, and I'm like, you know, I'm a Nigerian American, so I can't really say like, oh, this is how things really are, because I haven't really traveled home like that to really be able to be a good reference in that way. So I feel like, you know, I'm very Americanized basically. So it's like I feel like, you know, when people ask me stuff, I'm just like, I feel kind of like, well, I only know so much, so I just kind of tell them what I know from my parents or what I know from experience, that kind of thing. But I try to give relevant information when I can. So.
Can I talk now, or I don't want to cut anybody off.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Dang, I forgot my thought. Someone said Czechoslovakia?
Vincent.
Okay, well, can't hear him, so I missed that one.
Oh, okay. So he was talking about how people like are able to say a lot of really long and complex European names, but they can't do the same for African names.
Oh yeah, because they don't try.
Exactly,
they don't
because they don't care or respect them. So,
yeah, because they're not really people though. Okay, well,
yeah.
that seemed really. Vincent just texted me saying, "Oh, my bad, mom," because I called him son. Doesn't everybody on the East Coast say son? You don't have to be sarcastic, Vincent. Anyways,
He's in the
so
Midwest,
yeah, so the chat is we're actually ending. I just want everybody to answer this last question. And the question is, what words of encouragement would you offer someone struggling to love their blackness? Again, it's a pretty broad, general question, but if you can think of friends or like people in the video, Stacey Dash, that are going through some struggles, what would you want to say to that person if they were sitting right across from you? So we can go ahead and ask Nina.
The first thing that came to mind was to feel no pressure. And I say that not because I feel like apathy is definitely not the right solution at all. It's like impossible to be apathetic to your being disrespected as a human being and like not being granted the most basic, liberties and privileges, etc. But I think that a lot of Black people feel kind of like they always have to explain themselves to people, or they always have to like prove that they're proud of themselves and like strong and blah blah blah. And that's true. Like you should feel that way, but I don't think that you should like have to be like, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, just feel free to like be a person and go through all of your like nuances of like good and bad days, like happiness, confusion, sadness, whatever. Like you're a human being, and like focus less on like trying to prove that humanness to other people. So.
Very deep. Thank you. Vincent, and can someone let me know when Vincent's done talking?
Okay. I'll raise my hand.
Okay. I think I'll just piggyback on what Onyinye was saying, and I'll say that Onyinye really said well. We should stop apologizing for being, you know, we should stop you know, trying to make people understand that we are human too. We should really stop trying to make people know that we are actually just like them and we have the same blood running in our veins or anything. You know, I think the one thing which we should always remember is that part of be content with your identity, you know, and as much as you can, because these people, let us be frank, every other person in the world, every other race kind of has gone back to their roots and tried to like get more connected to the roots, something more than the superficial, like something more than the surface. Like most of them have gone deep into it. I mean, you know how much the Asian love their food, you know how much they love their culture, you know how much I mean, the whole people in the West, how they call the Asians, the Asian tigers, all of them, Japanese I mean, people from Philippines or something like that. All of those places, they do like their culture. So I think equally, if you do identify yourself in any way, in any spectrum of what blackness is, if you identify yourself like somebody from the northeastern part of Africa, if you identify yourself like somebody from the northwestern part of Africa, if you identify yourself as a Western African, you know, any country you are, try to dig deep into your roots so that when somebody is talking about your people and maybe calling Africa a country, you should correct them and then go within it and try to make them to understand that you are not just, you know, Nigeria, but somebody from this culture. Because I think because we try to sometimes generalize everything, makes them want to end up just generalizing all of us. So if you are specific about yourself, you understand. And I mean, I always give this advice to everybody. If you can, on the Saturdays that they say come in casual, put on a traditional wear if you have one. You know, put on a dashiki. Dashikis are out there; they are cheap to buy because everybody has them. Put on anything, kaftan, put on whatever you want to put on, but just, equally identify yourself. The other day I asked the same question in a meeting in the office, and I was like, you guys talk about casual Fridays. Can we put on an African way? And I mean, it was the head of the HR, and she was like, yeah, you can. But I was like, that's the issue. The issue is that, yeah, we can, but then we don't, it's not like a rule. It's not somewhere. It's not written somewhere. It's not something which people could read and say, oh, you can put on your traditional one and come to work. So I think we should stop apologizing for being black and just try to explain that we are actually human. So then I'm done.
He's done. He's done.
Okay. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you so much. Calcadon.
All right. I'm currently reading a book called Between the World and Me, and it's by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I think you all should read it, but I'm going to read a quote from the book. But it says, "You are growing into consciousness, and my wish for you is that you feel no need to constrict yourself to make other people feel comfortable." And I really think that speaks to what we're talking about at the moment. I feel like if I was giving advice, I'd tell the person just that, and the fact that they should unapologetically be black and should not have to justify anything for anybody, really. So that'd be my advice.
Edie?
Okay, for me, I would say be true to yourself. I think just in general, if you're struggling with your sense of blackness way, just be true to yourself. I think when you do that, you lose that sense of being uncomfortable, I guess. And I think that just makes the most sense to me. Just be true to yourself.
All right. Thank you. And thanks to everyone that joined the Twitter chat and watched this live and participated in today's conversation. We have conversations going on the website ezibota.com forever. And so if you want to continue this conversation, you can do so there. Thank you to Edie, Kakada, Nonine, and Vincent for joining us today. We hope to have you in future chats. And that concludes the live portion of the chat. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.